Hey, Steven, why so blue?
What?
The Weather Channel didn't call for a low forecast today.
What are you talking about?
Your shirt, it's different. That's why I said you'll look blue. Ow!
No.
Wait, I got it. It's because we're reviewing Eragon, and the dragon's blue too. Ow!
Not that either.
Well then what is it?
'Cause my other shirt's in the laundry.
Oh, okay. But wait, why did you hit me then? I thought you liked puns. You're always using that one clip in your show.
We'll talk about it later. Right now I got a review to do.
Eragon.
A movie that was a modest success, but panned by critics and fans alike. As far as accuracy to the book upon which it was based, I can report it doesn't do great. The way things are done in the book are different enough that I'm thankful this never got a sequel. Because once this movie reached a certain failing as an adaptation, it was all downhill from there.
The movie starts out promising enough, giving a decent and accurate exposition.
There was a time when the fierce and beautiful land of Allegasia was ruled by men astride mighty dragons. But the riders grew arrogant and began to fight among themselves for power. A young rider named Galbatorix betrayed them, and in a single bloody battle believed he had killed them all.
Then, it makes 3 rather minor errors and 1 major one. They showed Galbatorix, who didn't physically appear in the book, and then they introduced Arya, who stole a blue stone from the king, and she has the wrong hair color. Then, they introduce our protagonist, Eragon, who goes out hunting. He also has the wrong hair color. Those were all minor fuck-ups, but here's the major one. Why did they cast John Malkovich as Galbatorix? The man isn't even threatening.
Arya is chased by a girly man named Durza, an evil sorcerer known as a Shade. Sensing she's cornered, she spirits the egg away and it lands right in Eragon's sights.
Look at that deer in the background. It's just trotting away from having narrowly escaped death and a bright flash of light. That deer has not a single to give.
So Eragon does the first thing one would do with a stone that mysteriously appeared to you in the woods by magical means. He tries to hawk it for some meat. But he found it while
hunting in the spine.
Put it back. It belongs to the king.
Well, now how does he know that? Apparently because Eragon found it in the spine?
Do they explain why the spine is taboo in the movie? We get another taste of the evil befouling the land when soldiers are shown recruiting volunteers for the king's army and pointlessly harassing a local storyteller named Brom.
Now, where did a fool like you find such an appetizing string of jewels?
Clap of thunder, they fell off dead at me feet. So I thought, well, can't leave them there. Someone might trip.
I think you're a thief.
Ooh.
A poacher.
Oh, no.
I'd confiscate them all in the name of the king.
We are introduced to Eragon's cousin, Rorin, who has the interesting wardrobe choice of blue jeans. We also briefly meet his father and Eragon's uncle, Garrow.
I'm leaving. I'm old enough to be recruited now. I won't serve in the army.
Well, that was really short-lived. I mean, really, they just introduce this character, then make him leave and expect the following emotional scene of him leaving to make book-lacking audiences care? No, drop the music. You've already failed.
While emotion was the first thing the film tries to achieve unsuccessfully, the second and third are tone and pacing. Immediately after that scene, we get this scene.
Not a stain. An egg.
Make that 4 things. Now realism is gone. You just watched a dragon hatch, and you're looking at it like it's a puppy. Granted, it's kinda cute, but would you not look a little alarmed not knowing what this thing was?
Too late. It's hatched.
Look at what you did.
Okay, so he's got a dragon now. How's he gonna feed it if it won't take what's offered?
So much for our rat problem.
Most jokes in the movie are going to be constructed like that. Enjoy.
Which brings us to the point that John Malkovich is not very threatening. Here's why.
When the Varden learn that the legend is real, they will be encouraged to challenge me. And I am not interested in being challenged.
Malkovich?
Yeah.
He's scary.
I'm better. I'm stronger. I'm Batman.
No, it's totally wrong.
It gets worse with our main character, too.
Where's your mother? Did she abandon you too?
And then we're on to the next scene, and that plot thread is never mentioned again.
Aren't you glad we wasted screen time talking about that? Durza summons his assassins, the Razak, to go after Eragon. Brom tells another story.
A rider named Carvahall decided to take all the power for himself and cut down any dragon rider who opposed him.
Enough!
And one day he'll pay for his crime.
Are you deaf? Be on your way!
The time of dragon riders will come again.
And Eragon gets all excited and tries to get Saphira to fly.
I think you need to fly.
She's gone.
Oh sure, she's gone. We'll just fill the rest of the movie with something else.
But no, we get this. Instead of having her grow in age like any creature does, the filmmakers use magic as an excuse to get their big spectacle of a dragon to appear in the movie as early as possible.
What's happening?
Brom was right, Eragon. The time of the Dragon Riders has come again.
You can hear my thoughts.
I have waited 1,000 years to hear your thoughts. And now you can hear mine. I am Saphira. And you are my rider.
Ryder?
Then they butcher this next scene where Eragon is supposed to learn a little bit about dragons from Brom, but instead they throw back and forth some banter.
Mind your corn. Till your fields. Just get yourself into trouble.
What does it make you then? A liar? Or a coward? I know your story is true.
Wandering through town, he overhears the butcher selling him out and runs back to the farm to warn his uncle. Saphira, however, intervenes and plucks him up off the ground and flies off to save him, but eventually brings him back to the farm where he finds that it's too late.
I should have been here. To warn him. This is your fault!
But you would have met the same fate.
No! I could have saved him.
I don't think so. That flight was about a minute long. With all the running Eragon was doing to get back, the Razak must have gotten there and done their work long before you had the chance to get there. He was dead anyway, and you're just reacting harshly.
Did it really take him that long to get back, though?
Well, the butcher sold him out, and that was shown in a scene during a pretty dark night, and then Eragon starts running back, and it's early morning when... Wow, really?
This movie is not paced very well. He is given more unwanted company from Brom, who spirits him away from the farm and burns it down to give his uncle...
Funeral fit for a king.
And it starts raining to show that this is a sad moment.
Come on, boy, ride!
As you can see, this movie is really clinging to Lord of the Rings coattails before it's too late.
After laying down the exposition about their threats...
She was protecting you against the Razak.
I could have killed them.
That's the spirit. 1 part brave, 3 parts fool. But I think even a 17-year-old boy might probably last a minute against Durza's assassins.
Then I'll find Durza and kill him.
Durza's a shade, a sorcerer, possessed with demonic spirits. Find Durza. You'll be no better off than your uncle.
Brom tells Eragon to call Saphira back.
I'm sorry for what I said.
I understand. And who might this be?
This is Brom. He knows about dragons.
A fine young dragon.
Well, he does know. A bit about dragons.
And soon, strong enough to ride.
Strong enough to ride? What the heck do you call this, then?
Near-death roller coaster.
That's fair.
Hurdles. They used to be the king's enemies, now they're his guard. Brazilian.
What did you just do?
I started a fire.
Oh, another one of these shots? What, was this filmed in New Zealand too? No. Hungary and Slovakia. They slip into Derrit and Eragon meets this lady.
Do you wish Angela to read your fortune?
But I have no money.
Did Angela ask for money?
Angela likes to speak in the third person because Angela cannot act as compelling as Angela in the book.
I don't understand.
You have powers you do not acknowledge. But there is a doom upon you. Part of it lies in a death that rapidly approaches. And a girl. She calls to you in your dreams.
I have to do everything myself.
The fortune teller.
Did she tell you about him? Huh?
Then we partake in an action scene, which is pretty good in my opinion.
Come on!
Then we get the last thing one would expect, trying to logically explain how magic works. If there were a way to logically explain magic, the brain created in Eragon definitely pulls it off.
Magic comes from dragons. It flows through the riders who command them. Magic must be your last resort. It has rules, it has limitations. Before you cast a spell, you must learn the ancient language of the elves. Before you can cast a spell, you must have the physical strength to withstand its effect. Some spells may leave you weakened. Other spells, as you found out on the bridge, can leave you unconscious. And yet other spells, if you use them before you're ready, will kill you.
I will admit that even though the book has been torn into quite a few pieces by this point, the exposition they deliver is quick, concise, and pretty accurate.
What's the word for tree?
Tree is Trevam. And when a dragon and rider are truly one, then they see as one. And that's Skulvlaka Sven.
Another thing they do rather well is the effects. Saphira gives Eragon another try at flying, and I'll be perfectly honest, I thought they were pretty good. They captured the experience of flying in what looks like a pretty accurate way. Except for this shot. And this one. And then the We Are One spell turns out to be kind of a letdown.
You always see like this?
No kidding. Oh look, a sepia filter. Oh look, it's got zoom too. And heat seeking. This dragon's got more features than my smartphone.
Then the Rozaks show up and ambush them. Clearly they're screwed because, as Brom said,
if they find us, we'll have no chance.
Goodbye, sir!
Isn't this movie PG?
And this is the part of the movie where the butchering begins to get really bad. In the book, the Rozak didn't die, nor were they this pathetic. They're necessary to the plot as well as a motivator for Eragon, so you could say they're kind of necessary.
Brom put some mustard on Saphira's wing. Yes, that was a joke, but come on, who the heck knows what that stuff is? And Eragon has now put two and two together.
Dragon rider. Not anymore.
Where's your dragon?
She was murdered by another rider. The rider's name was Morzan. I took his sword, and I drove it through his heart. So I hid out in Carvahall with a shame I rightly deserved. Because of me, the days of the dragon riders were over.
Yeah, well, let me tell you something a little more shameful than that.
Yeah, Brom didn't tell Eragon that he was...
No, not that. Put the book down. Brom got revenge on the Dragon Rider who turned evil and killed his dragon. If the bond between dragon and rider is as intimate as they want us to believe, I can't imagine a greater revenge, let alone feeling shameful about delivering that revenge. Maybe he's ashamed because Brom and Morzan were friends before Morzan turned evil? Well, the movie doesn't tell us anything about that, so we don't know. And what do you even mean, because of you? Galbatorix betrayed the Riders. If anything ended the days of the Riders, it was him.
So Durza, in an attempt to bring Eragon to him, put a spell on Arya to implant a vision in Eragon's dream that tells Eragon where Arya is being held prisoner. Rather than sticking to the book's plot about Brom and Eragon getting captured by the Razak and imprisoned within Gilead,
Galbatorix has shown his face. Saphir became fully grown in a few days, and the Razak in this movie are dead. Do you really think integrity to the book has a chance from here on out?
Eragon wants to free her, but Brom is against it.
That's out of the question. Gilead's in the opposite direction. We can't start going back. We're almost there.
I won't let her die.
If she dies, then she'll join the countless others who died waiting for you. As the Varden now wait for you. Eragon, listen to me.
Your shame is not mine. You forgot what it means to be a dragon rider. I will save her.
This is the guy teaching you how to be a dragon rider. Who are you to judge?
I'm the rider, and I say we go.
So Eragon and Saphira fly off to Gilead. Saphira stays out until night to avoid attracting attention, as well as because of this.
Our power is greatest when we're together.
We can't truly be together until I become as strong as you.
Your odds are bad enough. Don't just leave her outside.
But wait, it gets worse. He disregards Brom's advice about using magic and uses 2 spells in a row.
Leave me here. Go. Now.
It's far too late for that.
Ah, yes, that creepy, ridiculous, bizarre laugh that would only ever be surpassed by this one.
No!
My sentiments exactly. You were my favorite part of this movie, Brom.
We'll have to do much better than that.
Okay, that could do it.
You see how much easier it was to have her just break in and then fly Arya away?
Fire! They're on the roof!
I can't! The weight is too much!
A dragon with that much mass should not have those kinds of problems only carrying 3 people. Brom is fading fast, but Eragon won't let him die.
I won't let you die. Not for my mistake.
A mistake that could have been prevented if you had just listened to him.
He dies similarly in the book, protecting Eragon, but they were escaping prison in the book. In this, it's basically Eragon's fault. Really is a shame. But instead of pointing that out, the movie decides to recycle lines.
That's the spirit. 1 part brave, 3 parts fool.
This movie is so cute when it tries to be deep. Or pathetic. Your choice. After burying Brom in a crystal tomb, the magic's made enough sense so far, we'll just let this one go. Arya has been poisoned by Durza and falls unconscious before another unwelcome companion shows up.
Why are you following us? I'm Murtagh, and you need me, Dragon Rider.
Thanks, but I'll be fine without you.
You seek the Varden. My family was slaughtered by the king's men when I was a boy. If there were ever a time for retribution, this was it.
If you could show me the quickest way to the Varden,
You'll learn to trust me, Dragon Rider.
Clearly, this trust comes really easy because in the next scene, there's really no hint of distrust between them. He even leads them to the Varden as promised. Unfortunately, not all goes well for Murtagh.
Seize him.
He saved my life.
He is the son of Morzan, the traitor.
How'd you know that? Are you butchering the book again by cutting out the 2 characters that set up this situation? Maybe you left them in the deleted scenes.
Murtagh is locked up and the Varden prepares for battle. Galbatorix's forces are also on their way, led by Durza, who is not dead because a shade can only be killed by a pierce through the heart. His regeneration, however, did not go smoothly.
Annihilate!
Good God, did he shove his face into an uncooked pie?
Maybe he went to a state fair.
State fairs have pies that are cooked. We get some quick fan service before the preparation for battle. The healers have made Arya battle ready remarkably quickly, and apparently worked through the night to craft Saphira her own armor.
That would not get done in a single night.
And now it's time for the battle.
Into the sky! To win or die!
Look at that, a young magician and a poet.
How quaint.
Let me out of here!
That cage is pathetic. And look at that, the Varden Slayers don't even care that he's out.
For a little bit, we get an aerial dogfight between Saphira and Durza's dark magic illusion of a dragon. And then Eragon realizes what he has to do. Fly from her tail.
That's the Brom!
I probably should have thought this through.
Saphira is now fading fast, and again, Eragon tries to heal her. It didn't work on Brom, why do you think it would work now?
Well, in the book, they had a few months of travel in between the time they got to the Varden.
But the way this movie paints it, it looks like they got there in like a day.
This movie wouldn't know pacing if it slapped it right in the face.
Saphira, some friends can't be replaced. Well, luckily some don't have to be.
Time to wrap things up. More recycled lines, a hint at romance that won't ever be materialized, and they fly off. The end.
So that was Eragon, the movie. Your thoughts?
As an adaptation, it missed a few key elements that would have been necessary for later elements. Filming took place as the second book, Eldest, was being published, so they couldn't plan for sequels properly and thus misinterpreted a few key moments, as well as certain key traits about certain characters. The story is a bit darker and more intense than they portrayed in this movie. It might have been harder to get an audience that way, so I guess I understand. If they ever try to make a movie from this franchise again, they really need to give it the Lord of the Rings treatment. Big and epic. Sure, they ripped off some shots from Lord of the Rings, but if the movie had actually felt like Lord of the Rings, it would have been much better.
Now, as for me, from a simple film perspective, on its own, I thought the movie was decent. Despite dumbing it down for younger audiences and falling victim to using cliches like recycling dialogue to try and leave an impact, I was at least entertained. It's a fun interpretation of the story, the effects were good, Jeremy Irons was fantastic as Brom, and Ed Spielers played Eragon pretty well too. And for any of you stragglers out there who are nitpicking the book even more than we are, the author himself liked the movie. He was willing not to be a nitpick and just enjoy a fun fantasy movie that just happened to be based off the best-selling book he wrote before he turned 20. 20. What the hell have you done with your life before turning 20? And even if it doesn't adapt the book very well, it at least doesn't have that many plot holes, only 3. Despite magically growing to full size, Saphira appears to have strength limitations that, because of mass, shouldn't be an issue. Maybe she had to get used to her strength, but there was no mention of that. If they had let her grow gradually throughout the movie, this would have made more sense. If magic comes from dragons, as this movie says it does, why couldn't Eragon pull some energy from Saphira to heal Brom? True, Eragon doesn't technically learn how to do this until the second book, but within the series, it's still plausible. By the movie's logic, it could have been done. Saphira's got magic in her, as evidenced by the crystallization of Brom's tomb. Eragon never mentioned that Arya was in Gilead, only a prisoner of Durza, so how did Brom know the location already? Durza is widely feared in Allegasia, so I assume people just know where he generally resides. Alright, I'll humor you a bit. Ever heard of a cold open before?
Like this?
No. A cold open is when something, be it a video, movie, sketch, comedy show, whatever. It's when they start off something with a little more serious of a tone. Usually it's done to offset something comedic that's going to follow right after that.
Okay, I get it. But that still doesn't explain why you hit me. In your last review you said you loved puns and that you'd never get sick of them.
Aye, puns.
I will never get sick of that. Yeah, I did say that, didn't I? About the clip! Not about the puns themselves, especially not the ones you've been making all night.
But aren't you glad I didn't say banana?
Dude, I didn't even say knock knock.
Who's there?
It's me. How's that for your punchline?
Ow!